Hello, friends. I'm here to chit chat today. We're going to be talking about a movie today, actually, a series of movies today. Obviously, you know the title. We're going to be talking about How to Train Your Dragon, How to Train Your Dragon 2, and How to Train Your Dragon The Hidden World. Okay. So I've been staying over at my friend's house watching my pet cat, or my friend's cat. My pet cat. She's not mine, as I said before. And because, just hanging out, this is when I get some movie time in. Usually when I'm at home, I get distracted by other things, but here I don't have that much to do, so I watch movies. And mind you, I have always loved How to Train Your Dragon. I saw that movie when it came out, whenever the first one came out. I don't know, sometime, maybe like 2015 or something. I have no idea, but it came out a long time ago. I think I was actually in college at the time. I don't remember. It doesn't really matter. Not a detail that's important, but I remember seeing it and I loved it. I freaking loved it. Thought it was great. But it didn't like hit me too much until like later. Like now, I don't know why. I don't know why, but like for some reason, rewatching the first okay, so I definitely rewatched the first How to Train Your Dragon because all this stuff, like Epic Universe came out with the Isle of Berk, which is Universal Studios, if you guys know it, here in Florida. They opened up a new theme park for Universal Studios, and it's called Epic Universe, and one of the islands or whatever is the Isle of Berk, which is where How to Train Your Dragon takes place. And I was like, oh, that's awesome, because I love Toothless. I even named my beta fish Toothless like years ago. This is years ago. Like I thought it was great. I was so excited. And then I was like, I don't know. One day I realized I never actually saw the other films from How to Train Your Dragon. I was like, what a freaking shame. Like, they were here, let me watch them, whatever. So, and so that Epic Universe came out. And then the live action How to Train Your Dragon is going to be out in June. And at first, I was very much against going to see it because it looks literally word for, like, from the scenes that they show, obviously they show the scenes that are word for word exactly like the original movie, which I think is kind of weird because I'm like, okay, I know that's how you draw people in nostalgia wise. Like, that's how you're like, look, this is a movie that you like. And it's like, yeah, okay, but like every live action is always a bit different. And aside from like some like changes that I don't like seeing in terms of like, I don't listen, I'm not a stickler for a lot of things, but I think characters should look like the character. If you are going to do a word for word, pretty much live action, then the characters should also look like the characters. Like, I'm not picky. I don't care about a lot of things with these live actions, but they should look like they're supposed to look like. So I'm sorry, Astrid should be a blonde. She should be a blonde. I'm just putting that out there. I don't that the live action How to Train Your Dragon Astrid is not my Astrid, okay? just putting that out there. And also, I think the twins are redheads now. They're both blonde. Like, I'm sorry. Like, why are you erasing the blondies? They're Vikings. They're very blonde. Not that they couldn't have red hair or brown hair. Obviously, Hiccup has brown hair, but those characters specifically had blonde hair and different colors of blonde hair too. Because anyway, it's not that okay. It's not that important. It really isn't. But I'm just like, to me, it is. Okay. I feel like if you're going to make everything look, for whatever reason, look exactly the same, and you're going to show us that it's pretty much word for word, why would you then not do that? But I guess, whatever. Live actions are different, so it's not that important. But I am curious what they're going to change and what they're going to do differently, because so far, other than obviously character appearance changes, like all they show is things that you could see in the movie that we have already, that we could watch already. And the other issue I have is Hiccup is not small enough. I'm sorry, he's not. Dude, I don't know who the actor is that's playing Hiccup. Why is he so tall? He shouldn't be like, dude. Toothless like almost dwarfs Hiccup, dude. Like, he should not be taller than Hiccup or like as tall as whatever. I mean, I'm just saying, Hiccup should be shorter. That's what I'm trying to say. He should be shorter and skinnier. Dude is skinny, but he should be skinnier. Okay. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. But it prompted me to watch the first movie again, so I watched it. Phenomenal. Okay. And for whatever reason, the song Test Drive, if you have not, it is the main like big theme in How to Train Your Dragon 1, and it follows in the other ones, but it's not as good as the first one. I cannot stop listening to that song. That song, like literally something in my brain goes wah wah. Like it is so majestic. John Powell, you did not have to go that hard with it. And that song is so majestic. It's so triumphant. Like, oh, there's nothing like a good score, man. That song lives rent free in my head for real, for real. Um, but yeah, Test Drive. Go listen to it if you haven't. You probably have heard it. You just may not know the name. But everything about it, I love. I feel like I'm getting sidetracked, but anyway, I love the movie so much. I love that Hiccup, um, his character and his character arc throughout the films. Probably, I'm sorry, this is probably one of the best trilogies. DreamWorks, and I know people like Shrek. Okay, I'm not a big fan of Shrek. I'm sorry, and Ice Age and whatever. They put out a lot of good movies. Okay, but like I think How to Train Your Dragon is the most solid trilogy in recent years. I like having just watched them all basically in a row, absolutely insane, dude. Okay. And I'm usually trilogies get lost on me, bro, because like unless it's like meant to be a trilogy, sequels when they're not like the Lord of the Rings or like a set trilogy, even then some films do lose it. Like, I'm talking about the most recent Star Wars trilogy, that was a bomb. But like, usually they kind of lose the magic over time, especially by the third one. This one did not lose the magic at all. The writing was so solid, the character growth was believable. Oh my gosh. Okay, anyway. So let's start in the first movie, Hiccup. Okay. First of all, the whole cast is awesome. But I love Hiccup's narration. I love how he really is down on himself and he sees himself as this, he's comparing himself to his father, comparing himself to the other Vikings, and he feels less than. Okay. And he wants to be like them. He wants to kill a dragon because that in their society is how you become a man, kind of thing. You prove your worth. Or a woman. The women are tough too. Become a proper Viking. So that's how he meets, finds the Night Fury dragon, which he eventually names Toothless. And he tries to kill Toothless, but he doesn't have the heart in him to do it, even though Toothless is is like tangled up and he caught him, right? He knocked him out of the sky. And he still doesn't have the heart to do that. And I freaking love that in a character, like characters that value life, even like animal life, to the point where, even for, he would have he would have had that confidence boost. He believed that anyway, right? He would have become the man that everyone wanted him to be. And this was something that was huge in his heart. But even bigger in his heart was his care for a living creature and that he couldn't take a life. And that is so beautiful. And not only that, but he then befriends Toothless and he actually helps him and he uses his creativity and his, because he's very good at inventing things to help Toothless recover from his injury because he loses one of the parts of his, there's like, his tail has like these two sides to them and one of them, I guess in his fall broke off. So he makes like another so he can glide and whatever. And he teaches him how to fly again. And it's just it's magnificent, okay? But of course, eventually the Vikings find out that he's hiding a Night Fury there, and it kind of is bad. So he has to find a way to get them to get along and say, hey, no, please, like, whatever. And it takes a lot of convincing. And his father is very much like, you're no son of mine, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, Hiccup is heartbroken because all he really wanted was the approval of his father. And he didn't get that. But he chose instead of seeking the approval, he wanted to make them understand that the dragons are not these evil, mindless beasts, but they're actually intelligent and they don't want to fight and they can be friendly. And for a while there, because he learns how to tame Toothless, he also can tame other dragons as well because he learns the trick of the trade and all that stuff. But eventually he's found out and he's kept away from Toothless or whatever. But eventually he gets out there and turns out there is they use Toothless to find out where this like hive of dragons is. Stoic does. And somehow I haven't watched the first one in a few days, but somehow Hiccup gets out there too and he is able to uh free free Toothless, and then he's also able to, they do stop this ginormous dragon. There are some giant dragons, and this giant dragon is like the leader dragon and has to go down because it could swallow everybody whole, basically. It's a big dragon, dude. Oh my gosh, it's a big dragon. And but in doing so, he ends up actually getting mortally injured. Well, not mortally injured, but he gets severely injured, and he loses his, I think it's his left leg, which is kind of in contrast to how, or well, he loses his left leg right below the knee, I should say. And it's in contrast to how, you know, Toothless lost his little fin there, which I love. And of course, he just gets a, you know, they're Vikings. They get a stump and you walk on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there you go. And so he moves on with his life. But then at that point at the end, his father realizes that dragons do have a place in society. Toothless did everything to protect his own son. He sees the value, he sees the intelligence, and the dragons are then welcomed into their society, and it's like beautiful, and they become dragon riders, and it's very charming. Okay. And the first movie is so charming. It's just beautiful. And then we in the second movie, I don't know how much of a time jump there is, but it seems like a pretty significant time jump. I didn't look it up, so don't ask me. But it's a pretty significant time jump. uh Hiccup is an adult, and he's got, I love his adult look, dude. They made him look so good. And him and Astrid are vibing. By the way, couple goals for real. Him and Astrid are so cute together. Um and yeah, so that, all that, and the other Viking pals that are around their age are all like, you know, they're doing their own thing, but everybody's a dragon rider and everything seems really good. But then there's this ominous threat. There is other dragon hunters out there that want to kill dragons or hoard them for a dragon army. So there's that. And this is where we meet another guy who's named Eret. Eret is his name. He's actually the first hunter that tries to take him down. And of course, the squad are like, what are you doing? Like, we don't, these dragons are tame and they're ours, you know, and they're also setting dragons free from these dragon hunters. That's kind of becomes their thing. Hiccup is all about, you know, he wants a peaceful, like, utopia for the dragons to live in and for dragons and Vikings to live in peace together. So that's kind of his thing. And at this point, all of the Vikings are on board, at least on the Isle of Berk. And of course, Stoic, he even has his own dragon and all that. Is very charming. So then you got these dragon hunters, and then it turns out that these dragon hunters are actually super determined to. Hi, kitty. Oh, my little friend is meowing. These dragon hunters are determined to get these dragons because they have to bring them to someone named Drago. I'm pretty sure his name's Drago. And they're really scared of this Drago guy. So they're like, listen, we're taking these dragons. You know what I mean? And eventually Hiccup is like, okay, fine. We're going to get caught and we're going to go to this Drago guy and we're going to discuss with him this stuff. I love that Hiccup is very much like, listen, I'm a negotiator and we're just going to talk it out. You know what I mean? We're just going to talk about our problem. We're going to talk this out and we're going to resolve it. I love that he is such a man of peace, and I love that in a hero. You know what I mean? Like, he will fight. He will fight. And he's got some cool gadgets. He's got like a sword that can light on fire. Like, it's freaking cool. But he is ultimately a man who wants to resolve things peacefully. And I just, we have so many heroic characters that fight and they like to fight. You know what I mean? And there's nothing necessarily wrong with liking to fight or whatever. But my favorite character is always like the Captain Americas that are like, you know, sure, he does fight, you know, but he is ultimately a peaceful hero. Or like Hiccup, who is very peaceful. I love him so much. But anyway, so they end up finding this Drago guy, and turns out he sucks. You know what I'm saying? He's not a nice guy. He's, in fact, the worst. And so they do manage to get away, but then there's this other mission. They're finding out that there is something out there, some giant dragon that is causing like uh it, instead of blowing fire, it blows ice and it freezes everything. Okay, so they're like, we got to figure this out. So him and Astrid end up going to this place where there's like this huge ice structure, and they think that Drago is going to be there. I'm pretty sure that they think Drago is going to be there because actually, maybe this happened first. Did Drago come second? I don't remember. Okay, order. I just watched The Hidden World. This one I watched a few days ago, but they end up going there, and they are being followed by this strange figure in this really strange armor, and they're kind of freaked out about it. But they eventually go inside this place, and it is like there's dragons everywhere. It's like another dragon hive or utopia or just safe place or whatever. And there's this strange, again, this strange armored person that is also there who's riding on a dragon. And it turns out that it's Hiccup's mom. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Okay, this one is so great because you find out about Hiccup's mom. Obviously, the first movie, he didn't have his mom. I don't think his mom is even mentioned. If she is, it's very brief. And in this one, we find out that Hiccup's mom was actually very much like Hiccup. Hiccup grew up to be a lot like her. And she believed that dragons were not actually harmful to people. And, but nobody believed her and everyone thought she was crazy. So one day there was a dragon raid on Burke, and she is trying to stop people from killing the dragons, but nobody's listening. And then some dragon actually blows fire onto her house and breaks into her house where baby Hiccup is. So she runs back into the house, and she goes in there, and she sees the dragon, and the dragon is literally holding his giant claw out to baby Hiccup. And baby Hiccup is just like curls his little hand around the claw, and it's like this tender moment of like this dragon acknowledging baby human and isn't trying to kill him, isn't trying to hurt him, doesn't even want to seem to scare him or anything like that, just wants to be like, oh, this is a baby human, I really like this baby human. And only when she spooks it, because she's watching the whole time and she's like mind blown, right? And she spooks it because she knocks something over, and it gives a little scratch to Hiccup's chin, which actually leaves a scar, which is how she knows that it's Hiccup, which is crazy. Because obviously she hasn't seen him since he was a baby. Um, but she realizes the minute she sees that um, she was right all along, and that the dragons are not actually these mindless murder beasts, but they are actually intelligent and kind. And this dragon ends up, which is the dragon that she rides, ends up snatching her and taking her away. And of course, Stoic thinks that this beast has just flown off with his wife. His house is on fire, and his son is got a scratch on his face. It doesn't look good. No wonder Stoic was feeling some kind of way. You know what I'm saying? So I don't blame the dad for feeling that way. But anyway, so she gets taken away, and I guess she just never comes back. I don't know. I can't remember exactly her explanation, but I think ultimately she just felt like she didn't belong there, and that she had, it was her job to take care of these dragons. And so that's what she did. And I really like, especially the second movie with her in it, because she's in the third one as well. But I think the second one is so much fun because she's so awkward. Like, I don't know if that's how but I feel like she's not awkward in like a really overt way, but it's like you can just tell, like, it's like she's not used to talking to people because she's been with dragons the whole time. And I feel like it's very subtle but so well done in how just some of her, like the way she moves very much like she's been crawling after dragons, and like the way she talks sometimes, or the way she like, it's like she almost doesn't realize she's supposed to respond to Hiccup sometimes, or whoever's talking to her. I just loved it. I don't know if that was like maybe just me reading into things too much, but I feel like she was like just like, oh, human interaction. How do I remember about this? What do I remember about this? Like, it was just, I thought it was really good. But anyway, eventually, Stoic finds out that she's alive and is super stoked, and they have ah, the cutest moment where they're like dancing together, and Hiccup is like, oh, and they're singing a song, and oh my gosh, it was so cute. I wanted to cry, and I just feel like Stoic so came alive, and like Stoic's main thing during this whole like movie is getting Hiccup ready for leadership to be the next chief, and Hiccup is very anti-chief. Okay, he's like, listen, I can't do what you do, Dad. I just want to ride dragons and invent things to continue to take care of and ride dragons, and I want to kind of just like, I'm too awkward. Like, I don't want to do it. So, and Astrid's trying to like encourage him, but ultimately it's like, no, I don't want it. So, there are giant dragons in this too. The one that, they blow ice instead of fire. And one of them lives in like the middle of this big ice structure that they've been hiding dragons in with Hiccup's mom. And it is the alpha dragon. Okay. Alpha dragon. So whatever alpha dragon does, all the other dragons do. Okay. And unfortunately, there are two dragons that seem to have this capability, two enormous dragons. One of them over there, the other one is owned by Drago. Drago has him. Bad guy, evil. And he wants to use his dragon. Well, he has giant dragon. I don't think it's the alpha yet because there can only be one alpha at a time. So he brings his giant dragon, over to where other giant dragon is because you have to kill the dragon, I guess, to achieve alphaness. So giant dragon battle comes. Okay, very exciting. And the squad is there. They're trying to stop Drago. It's going to be great. We love it. And everything feels good. It feels like victory. But lo and behold, good giant dragon gets murdered by corrupted giant dragon, and corrupted giant dragon then becomes the alpha. And now all of the dragons listen to him. And Drago is stoked because he has made this dragon listen to him. He has some sort of control over the other giant dragon. So he's like, all right, control the Night Fury, control the Night Fury, which obviously Toothless is the only Night Fury in existence, or so we think. But so he gets control of poor little Toothless. And of course, Drago commands him to kill Hiccup. And Hiccup is like he's like trying so hard to get him to listen to him, but he can't because he's been like overrode. His brain is overrode. And Stoic sees that Hiccup is going to get flame roasted by his own dragon, by Toothless. So Stoic, just as Toothless shoots that vicious ball of fire, Stoic shoves Hiccup out of the way and takes the entire brunt of the fire. And he dies instantly. And heartbreak. Oh my gosh, that scene was the worst. I can't. I'm pretty sure I was crying. But yeah, and then of course, Hiccup's mom, I'm sorry, I don't remember what her name, Valka, I think. Valka is there. And then Hiccup is there. He's crying over him. Astrid comes over and they're crying. They're like, no, 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 no. And then Toothless snaps out of it somehow. I don't know how Toothless snaps out of it, but he comes over and he touches Stoic's hand and he's like freaked out because obviously Stoic is dead. And oh, I get where this is coming from, but it broke my heart. But Hiccup like started pushing at Toothless, and he's like, "No, get away from him! Get away from him!" And it's just like your heart just shreds in two, dude. It's the freaking worst. But after that, they have a ceremony where they have a Viking funeral for Stoic, and basically Hiccup now has no choice but to take the role of chief, and his mom encourages him that he can do it, that it's not about like it's not about his appearance, it's not about his victories or defeats or anything, but that he has exactly what the Isle of Birth needs ultimately if he would just see himself as everybody else sees him, because he has a very low self-esteem, which relatable, what a hero. But ultimately, he has to go and stop Drago. That's the next mission. Of course, all the dragons are now being controlled by the evil alpha dragon and Drago, and so they're all gone. So they have to find another way to get there. And I love this because it comes right back around. So early when he first meets his mom, she talks about the alpha dragon, how all the dragons respond to the alpha dragon except for the baby dragons, who are nothing can control them. They're just mindless little baby dragons that go wherever they want and do whatever they want. Nothing can control them. So of course, what do? But they get baby dragons because they're the only dragons left, and they fly them over to where Drago is, and it's so cute. But they get them to go there. I don't know how they do. But they go and they rescue all of the dragons, of course. And ultimately, Toothless ends up taking out evil Alpha Dragon and Drago. And this makes Toothless the Alpha. And so then they go back to Burke, and it's very exciting because now we have the Alpha Dragon. Okay. And hi, come here. Oh, I have a friend. This is Mingle. Hi, Mingle. You want to talk about dragons? She do. She do. She do. She want to talk about dragons. Um, Hi. Yes, thank you so much. So that's pretty much where How to Train Your Dragon 2 ends, which is Toothless is the alpha dragon, Hiccup is the chief. Don't you love that? I love how like basically Hiccup and Toothless's journey is the same throughout each film. I freaking whoa! I just noticed that because in the first one, they both end up losing a limb essentially because it was a limb for Toothless, even if it's just like a tail. It's not feather, a tail thing. Oh, I gotta just move the curtain. Might be too bright now, but she wants to look outside, so we're gonna let her look outside. Um, but he loses his leg. Toothless loses his tail fin that helps him to fly, that he can't fly without. And then in the second one, Toothless becomes the alpha, and Hiccup becomes the chief. And in the third one, oh, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Okay, let's get there faster. So that's what happened. Third one, amazing. At first, I was like, the third one is gonna be so repetitive to the second one. I already know. I already know because you know the third one is never good. No, it's amazing. So we have Dragon Hunters again. That's the same, but there's this evil. I don't remember what his name is. I don't remember what this guy's name is, and I literally watched it last night. I don't know if they said his name more than like a couple. It doesn't matter. Anyway, so there's this evil dragon hunter who actually has dragons of his own. He kind of flies on like a drone. It's like drone. It's like he's got like a drone shaped like ship situation with like 4 dragons that fly him through the air. It reminded me of a drone. But these dragons, he uses their own venom against them. He like has this contraption that sticks like venom into their heads that makes him able to control them. So again, we have a dragon hunter that can control his dragons. We've seen it, but it's different. And he also uses their venom to shoot and knock out other dragons. So I guess it might be a different venom. And he's determined, like basically the Isle of Berk has become notorious now. So he's determined to take down Hiccup, okay, the chief, and all of this. And it's very exciting for him, not for me. I'm like, ugh, here we go again. But basically, let's just hit the most important points here because I don't need to go over the whole film. But they're still in the business of setting free dragons from dragon hunters. So that's kind of where it starts out. The whole squad does it now, though. We got the whole squad in on it. We got Rough Nut, Tough Nut. What are their names? Longshank, Fish Legs, and of course Astrid. That's the whole squad, right? Yeah. Anyway, so we got all of them, and they're all in to save the dragons. So they set dragons free. This is the first time we get to see another Night Fury, except it's white. It's a white Night Fury. In fact, they end up calling it a Light Fury. I don't think she ever gets a name. I think she's just called the Light Fury. Interesting. But anyway, but she turns herself invisible, so they actually don't set her free. So the bad guys decide to use the Light Fury against the Night Fury because the main evil bad guy was the one who actually exterminated all of the Night Fury so that there's only one left. And he doesn't like that there's only one left. He wants to take the rest out. So he uses the Light Fury, which is the female Night Fury, as bait for Toothless because Night Fury's mate for life. I'm like trying to figure out what I'm trying to say. Night Fury's mate for life, so he's like, this is how we're gonna trap him. And then at the same time, okay, we're having like Astrid and Hiccup talking about marriage. Okay, I freaking can't stand it. Of course, like for the first like beginning of the film, they're like, we're not ready to be married yet. That's like a lot. Like, but people keep bringing it up, especially. Is it Tough Nut? Is Tough Nut the brother, or is Rough Nut? I think it's Rough Nut is the brother. He keeps bringing up marriage, like a lot. So which is comical. Okay, I think that's hilarious. But anyway, so they keep bringing it up. They keep talking about blah 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 blah. But they're very much like, we're not ready, we're not ready. But then eventually this threat, and they're like, we'll just handle it like we've always handled it. Except, dude is a monster, and he comes to Berk with his dragons, lights the place up. It's all on fire. Everything's bad. And he's like, you're going to regret not doing what I told you, which is to give me the Night Fury and blah, 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 blah. So they end up all deciding to leave because it turns out Hiccup found his father's like notebook or diary or whatever, and it had information, and also Hiccup's having a lot of memories, and baby Hiccup, oh, I mean little kid Hiccup, he's not a baby, but little kid Hiccup, I have never seen a cuter animated character in my life. I don't care, blows everything out of the water. He's so cute. Okay, he's so cute. But he keeps having flashbacks a few different times, and his father talks about the hidden world, which is where the dragons come from. And of course, back in the day, his father wanted to find it so he could close it up so no dragons could ever come out. But now Hiccup is thinking like, oh, we got to find the hidden world. That's where we belong, and we can be safe there, and the dragons can be safe there, and nobody's going to find us. We got to go. So they all evacuate Burke. Every single rider and dragon evacuates Burke and starts heading in some general direction because apparently it's at the edge of the world. So, back then they used to think that there was an edge. Okay. Even though I think Roughnut makes a joke about how the world is actually round because stars are round and the moon is round. And I'm like, you're the one that's saying that? Are you saying that as a joke? I can't tell. But anyway, um, so they go and they end up having to stop at this other huge island. It's really, really big. And they're like, we're going to take a break here until we can keep going because the dragons need a break. And they're like, oh, all right, well, let's set up camp. We're just going to start building here. And he's like, no, 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 we're not going to stay here. We're going to keep going. We got to find the hidden world. And he's like, they're like, oh, but we want to live here. And he's like, I mean, okay, you can build here. I guess it's fine to have like basically a base of operations, but like, we're going to leave. And they're like, ah, okay, okay. So the Vikings start building. And, evil guys are kind of figuring out where they're going. And unfortunately, at some point, they went to go deal with the evil guys again, and Tough Nut, the sister, gets captured, and they end up letting her go, but that's so that they can follow her and see where she goes, so they can, you know. But that's neither here nor there at the moment. But basically, through this whole sequence, Toothless and the Light Fury are having like little moments together. They're like he keeps seeing her, but she wants nothing to do with humans. She's angry at humans, terrified at humans, whatever. And so every time Hiccup comes around, she ditches. Or when she sees Hiccup like spying on them, she ditches. And so he's like, okay, I want Toothless to be happy, and the only way he's going to be happy is if I give him his freedom. So he makes him a special like, his tail wing or whatever, to he fixes it, and he makes one that isn't controlled manually, but that I guess just Toothless can control. And he lets him go to go find this Light Fury. And, it's really hard for him, but he is willing to do anything to help his friend achieve happiness. And then they disappear. And they disappear for a long, extended period of time. And Hiccup is worried that he's never going to see, like, what if something happened to Toothless? What if the gadget didn't work? What if he fell into the ocean and died? Like, he's got to go find him. So him and Astrid end up jumping on a dragon and they go looking for Toothless. And they end up finding the hidden world, which is so cool. It's beautiful. And it's a place where all the dragons are, and it's gorgeous. But they have to be careful and quiet. And they sneak around, they slip around, and they're trying to be careful in this beautiful, like fluorescent, it's like gorgeous. What a beautiful location. And they end up seeing Toothless and the Light Fury together. And of course, Toothless being the alpha dragon, he's king. He's king of this location. And but then they end up making noise and getting seen, and all the dragons start coming after them because these dragons are not used to humans, do not want humans, and humans are unwelcome in the hidden world. Okay. So even though here Toothless or here Hiccup is thinking that this is going to be the place where all of them can live together, but it's not a place for humans to actually live. It's a place simply for dragons to live. And Toothless, of course, recognizes that Hiccup is here, and he stops him from getting hurt and ends up flying him and both Astrid out of there to safety. But, at that point, I think Hiccup is realizing, like, I can't keep him here. I can't keep him unhappy, so um, this is a lot of what Hiccup has to kind of come to terms with, is that he may have to let Toothless go in order for Toothless to be happy, and the hidden world is not a place where he can ever go. That was a one-time trip. And he's kind of going back and forth and dealing with that. Meanwhile, the evil bad guy is now upon them. Okay, when they return, he is back, baby. He is ready to cause problems for everybody, and he wants Toothless. And he ends up capturing Toothless and the Light Fury. They both are there somehow. And he ends up capturing them, and they're in this like huge contraption, and he's going to take them away. Now, this part of the movie, oh, this is like the end of the movie. I think I was sobbing my eyes out, and I'm not even lying to you. I wish I was lying, but I'm not. And so then at some point, somehow, the contraption that this dude is on breaks, and uh, Hiccup gets knocked off of his dragon, knocked off of Toothless. And the dude, the evil guy who has those darts that knock out dragons, shoots a dart at Toothless. Toothless starts falling towards the ocean. Toothless can't swim, okay? And the Light Fury is there. And somehow, when Hiccup got knocked away, he got hold of the Light Fury around her neck. And he's looking at her and looking at his own situation. And he's like, he looks at her and he says, "Save him," and lets her go. And she goes and she grabs Toothless and flies off. Now, why is this decision so impactful? It's going to make me emotional again. Because he knew that the Light Fury didn't like him and wouldn't come back for him. And, okay. Sorry for a second there. I was getting a little choked up, so I got some water before I lost it. Okay. But he knew that the Light Fury wouldn't come back for him. He was going to fall into the ocean and die. And he still said, "Save him, save Toothless." And of course, the Light Fury does that, and she goes to save Toothless. And that hit me so hard, to be so sacrificial for his best friend, because he often refers to Toothless as his best friend. And to know that, yeah, I'm making this choice and I am going to die when I make this choice, because Toothless is unconscious. Toothless can't come for him, and all the other dragons are caught up in something else. And so he knows he's going to die, and he still made that choice. And that, to me, is the height of Hiccup's character. So then he's tumbling towards the ocean, and he has his like his flying. He has like a flying outfit. He kind of looks like a flying squirrel, but it's like a dragon wing. And dude is like, the evil guy is like ripping his dragon wings off and ripping everything off that could help him. And they're plummeting towards the ocean. And then at the last second, boom, the Light Fury grabs Hiccup and gets him out of there and gets him back to land. And I mean, that, of course, it's a kid's movie, right? We knew Hiccup was going to live, but it was so beautiful to me. That save him, save him. It literally, it was so beautiful. Okay. I don't even know how to describe it. It was one of the most beautiful moments in cinema that I've ever watched. And it's How to Train Your Dragon. So then he comes to terms with the fact that he has to let Toothless go. He can't go to live in the hidden world. They're going to live in Newburgh, and he has to let his friend go. And it is literally one of the most heartbreaking scenes ever, because all the dragons are going to leave. He recognizes that this is not where they belong. They're not safe out here in the human world, because they're going to keep being hunted, and he has to be let go. So, being the alpha dragon, Toothless summons all the other dragons, and in one big herd, they all leave, and everybody's crying. I was crying my eyes out. Again, another sacrificial moment from Hiccup that showed that even though this was not what he wanted to be with Toothless forever. He wanted to be his best friend forever. He wanted to always be able to be with him. And now he knows he can never be with him. And he is still able to make that choice, because what is better for him is that he is not here. It's not about what Hiccup wants. It's about what is good for my best friend, what is good for the dragons in general, and what will actually keep them safe. And that means that I have to let him go entirely. And that, to me, bruv, that the whole like last 15 or so minutes of How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World, mind blowing. The level of sacrifice, it's so beautiful. And like, to me, it's so biblical, right? Like, we should be like Hiccup, and if somebody is in danger and we are risking our own necks, we should be able to say, "Save him. Don't worry about me. Save him." You know what I'm saying? Or we should be able to say, "What is better for you is not this. I will let you go because this is what is better for you." Like, oh my God. Like, I don't know. For me, it hit so hard. Anyway, so then let's go to happier things. They all go, and it's very sad. But Hiccup and Astrid get married. I'm so happy. Like a sprinkle. But they get married, which is so exciting for me. And I thought that was so cute because, again, freaking Toothless and the Light Fury get married. dragon married, and then you got Hiccup and Astrid getting married. I love it. Um, but at the end, at the very, very end, we have another narration from Hiccup, and it shows him on the ocean, and he's got two kids. I'm gonna cry, I can't. He's got two kids, a little boy and a little girl, and Astrid's with him, and they go to the edge. Somehow they found where the edge was again by boat, and you see Toothless and the Light Fury there, and a bunch of babies. Like they have three babies, and of course, at first Toothless, he's like protective, and he jumps on the boat, and he's like, because Hiccup looks different. He's got a whole beard and everything. The character growth, and he's like growling at him, and but Hiccup does his signature hand on the snout, and then as soon as Toothless realizes it's him, oh, he's elated. He's jumping and hugging and licking him and everything. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. And the kids were so cute because they were like terrified because this dragon looks like he's gonna kill. And I love Astrid is like protecting the kids. She's like, oh my gosh, is Toothless like lost his mind? Is he not gonna remember Hiccup? But anyway, and she's like, it's okay, kids. He's not eating daddy. And the kids are just like, we're not going over there, but they do, and it's really cute. And then they go on another dragon ride, dude. They go on a dragon ride with the kids, and it's like it's as if Hiccup and Toothless were never apart, and the Light Fury also accepts them, and I mean, it is so beautiful, dude. And then the credits is like literally a slideshow of scenes from the first movie all the way to the third movie. I was in tears. I was bawling my eyes out. I haven't seen as good of a trilogy like this since the original Star Wars or the Lord of the Rings. The writing is so solid. There is no, like, even if like the second and the third one had similar themes of like dragon hunters being the villain, like it was so different. And regardless of the similar villain, like the characters, their growth and what they were experiencing through that film was all different. Because the first one is Hiccup coming into his self-confidence and recognizing who he really is. The second one is him finding his mother and finding out who, like, he's like his mother. He always wanted to feel accepted, and now he does more than ever. And also fighting for the dragons to be free, and of course becoming the chief and recognizing his self-worth and his self capability to be that chief. And of course Toothless kind of mirrors that with becoming the alpha. And then the third one is about him as a chief now, being a defender of the innocent dragons, and also being a defender of peace. But also he steps into another level of self-sacrifice, realizing his needs are not the only needs here, and he's not going to hold someone to his needs, and or even his wants. And like just the art of the act of letting go in doing what is better for someone else, even if that someone's a dragon. Okay, it's beautiful. And also realizing that he can, like, he's ready for the next stage of life with marriage and all that and kids. Oh my gosh, it's a perfect trilogy. I can't even say it enough. It is a perfect trilogy. And so that's How to Train Your Dragon. I'm really excited about the live action. Actually, I didn't think I was going to be, but now that I've watched all the movies, I actually am. Just for more How to Train Your Dragon content, honestly. I even picked up the book. This is How to Train Your Dragon by Cressida Cowell, which is what it's based on, and it really is like a manual of how to train your dragon. Okay, and also you should know that his name is Hiccup Horrendous Haddock the Third. Okay, you should know his full name. All right, there's a lot of cute drawings like this. But it says, I'll read this because it's really cute, because this is like a lot of the narration. It says, a note from the hero, being Hiccup. There were dragons when I was a boy. There were great, grim sky dragons that nested on cliff tops like gigantic, scary birds, little brown scuttly dragons that hunted down the mice and rats in well-organized packs, preposterously huge sea dragons that were 20 times as big as the big blue whale and who killed for the fun of it. You will have to take my word for it, for dragons are disappearing so fast, they may soon become extinct. Nobody knows what is happening. They are crawling back into the sea from whence they came, leaving not a bone, not a fang in the earth for the men of the future to remember them by. So in order that these amazing creatures should not be forgotten, I will tell this true story from my childhood. I was not the sort of boy who could train a dragon with a mere lifting of an eyebrow. I was not a natural at the heroism business. I had to work at it. This is the story of becoming a hero the hard way. First of all, this is charming. Okay, this is so charming, and I guess there's a lot of them. I guess. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I'll engage with all that, but I love that. I love that they took something as charming as like a manual. I mean, there is like actual like characters talking and things like that. There's actual, but like it's like a manual for how to train your dragon, and they made it into an incredible film franchise. And I'm only disappointed that I didn't see all three of these in theaters. Like I saw the first one, like I said, but I'm disappointed that I didn't see the second or the third one. I don't know where I was. Maybe I was in a haze at the time. I don't know, because my 20s were rough. Okay. Mentally, but we're doing better. We're getting there. But yeah, I think Hiccup is probably one of my all-time favorite animated characters, um, for the simple fact that of his peacefulness, his selflessness, and his integrity and his heart. Like, wow, that's the kind of hero I want to be if I'm going to be a hero. You know what I mean? And I really love the dragons. I really love the color. It's so beautiful, dude. I don't know what to say anymore. I just had a really good time with it. Yeah, I don't really have any more to say. I would definitely suggest go watch How to Train Your Dragon. Who's your favorite character? Mine's Hiccup. I like Astrid too, but Hiccup's my Hiccup is the OG. He's number one. He's number one, and Toothless, of course. Um, but yeah, do you like How to Train Your Dragon? Which is your favorite movie? I think my favorite. Well, my favorite's the first movie, but like the third movie actually is probably my second favorite movie. I like the second one, but like the third movie had like I said, the stories. I had to pause because I was getting too emotional, dude. I was thinking too much about it, and I was like, my heart was starting to go, and I'm like, okay, we need to take a second. Like that's how much that movie affected me. Like I know it sounds silly because it's an animated children's movie, but like I'm telling you, animated children's movies are some of the most impactful films for adults, really, when it comes down to it. So because they like that an act of selflessness like that might seem really simple to a child and they probably won't grasp it, but as an adult, like it's so easy to be selfish. And I'm speaking for myself right now. It's so easy to be selfish and just be like, this is what I want, this is what's going to make me comfortable, this is what is going to make me feel safe, this is just what I just want things to stay the same. But sometimes things staying the same is the worst possible thing for you or for somebody else. And you have to be able to make that sacrifice, not for you, but for somebody else, and know that that's what's for the best. And, as a Christian, speaking for myself again, specifically, our Jesus calls us to be selfless in everything that we do. And so I think having stories of selfless heroes in them is like the best. And it's not to say that having I mean he's still flawed. Every human character is flawed. But like, having a hero that is selfish, I mean that's relatable too in many ways. But I love that we got to see Hiccup do something like that. So anyway, uh, yeah, I'm gonna stop there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this rundown on why I love How to Train Your Dragon. And I don't know, this book might be a little too young for most people. I'm going to enjoy it. I already know. Um, but check out How to Train Your Dragon. Are you going to see the live action, or are you like totally like boo live actions? Because I get that. Okay, I would be very disappointed if DreamWorks went down this road of making live actions of everything like Disney has. I get that it's a moneymaker, but like please don't. Unless it's something cool. Like I wish Disney would make a live action of something cool like um Treasure Planet or Atlantis, something like that. Like can you do something cool, or are we just not? We're just Disney princesses? Okay. Or Lilo and Stitch. Okay. Anyway. I'm just gonna leave it there. We're done talking. So have a great day, guys. Just remember that I love you and Jesus loves you way more. Let me know what you think about How to Train Your Dragon. Bye.